Butterfree is definitely one of the most iconic and well-known Pokemon out there, as it has appeared early on in the anime and had one of the most saddest and iconic Pokemon episodes of all time. There are plenty of memorable Butterfree moments from the anime, and I'm sure a lot of you guys remember using Butterfree when you first played through a Generation 1 game. Unfortunately, Butterfree just isn't that good competitively, and in this video, we will be discussing if Butterfree is the worst Pokemon from a competitive standpoint or not. If you guys are unfamiliar, I am your host PaPaSea, and in this series, we take a look at some Pokemon that are bad competitively, discuss what their positives are, what their negatives are, and discuss why they are bad. This isn't just a series where I objectively bash your favorite Pokemon, this is a competitive analysis of Pokemon in a competitive setting against other people. This is extremely important to keep in mind, as if you are unfamiliar with competitive Pokemon battling, it is very different than battling in-game against a gym leader or other NPCs like that. We will rate Butterfree on a scale 1 to 5 based on its offense, defense, versatility, Movepool, and overall viability. If Butterfree doesn't excel in any of these categories, then it is seen to be a bad Pokemon and potentially the worst Pokemon ever. If you guys enjoy this series and want to support the channel as well, make sure you guys click that like button as it helps a ton, and make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss a future upload. Taking a closer look at Butterfree, it is a bug and flying type Pokemon with the stat line of 60 in HP, 45 attack, 50 defense, 90 special attack, 80 special defense, and 70 speed. Butterfree did receive a 10-point buff to its special attack in Generation 6, raising it from 80 to 90, but this really didn't help it all that much. Butterfree also has the abilities Compound Eyes, which increases accuracy, and Tinted Lens, which doubles the damage of resisted attack, which are both pretty decent abilities from an offensive standpoint and can be very useful in certain situations. And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at some of Butterfree's positives. For the first positives, like I touched on a little bit before, you have two pretty good abilities. Tinted Lens, increasing your accuracy, could be very good if you want to run some lower accuracy moves. And of course, having your resisted attacks do double damage is pretty good. It basically makes it so they're not resisted. I wish it was a more popular ability, but unfortunately not too many Pokemon get that one. And for the second and final positive, Quiver Dance, one of the best setup moves in the game. This is one of Butterfree's few redeeming factors. If you get a Quiver Dance up, this thing becomes somewhat of a threat. It's not the strongest Quiver Dance user, of course, because it's definitely low special attack stat and a relatively low speed stat. But if you get one off, there's not many things that would want to take a hit, especially if you have Tinted Lens. And now on to the negatives. For the first negative, you are 4 times weak to Rock. I can't stress how bad this is. From a Smogon perspective, in a metagame that uses Stealth Rocks pretty frequently, being 4 times weak to it, sending it out, losing half your health really isn't ideal. You also have extremely low bulk. Now I know this is a bug type and bug types generally are relatively frail, but 60 HP and 50 defense is just awful. 80 speed def isn't the worst, it's somewhat mediocre, but still you combine that with the 60 HP, you're not going to take very many hits. You also have a pretty mediocre special attack stat of 90. It's really not that great. The thing with having a stat of 90 in your attack stat is it wouldn't be too bad if you were a bulky Pokemon, but this isn't a bulky Pokemon, so it's kind of just useless. And for the last negative, Butterfree doesn't really have too many strong moves. It doesn't have access to Hurricane, which is a bit unfortunate. And outside of that, its overall move pool is relatively shallow. It doesn't have the worst coverage in the world, but it certainly could be better, especially considering the fact it's Generation 1 Pokemon, and a lot of Generation 1 Pokemon have insane coverage if you look at Pokemon like Gyarados and Slowbro. So in terms of some improvements to make Butterfree better, first off, give it moves like Hurricane, or even Sludge Bomb and Earth Power. Hurricane would be fantastic for stab. It would combo pretty nice with the Compound Eyes ability. Sludge Bomb and even Earth Power is just great for coverage. One problem with this Pokemon is it really can't touch Fire or Steel types. Giving it Earth Power definitely helps that department. A higher special attack stat of even 100 would help a lot. 100 is not the highest, but you back behind a Quiver Dance, you can do significantly more damage than if you only had 90 attack. Same if your speed was higher at 90, you'd be able to outspeed a lot more things after a Quiver Dance. I don't think these two improvements will make Butterfree overpowered, but it'll definitely make it much more usable than it is today. Another thing that I think would be cool, which I doubt they would ever do, is change Butterfree's typing to Bug and Psychic. Butterfree is one of those Pokemon that growing up, and I'm sure a lot of you guys even thought this when you were younger, that Butterfree was part Psychic type, but it is not, it is Bug Flying. Being Bug Psychic would mitigate that 4 times weakness to Rock, which would be amazing, and it would give it a Stab Psychic, which, I mean, you can definitely make the argument that Stab Flying is better, but when you consider the fact that this thing gets Psychic and doesn't get Hurricane, and its strongest flying move is only Air Slash, I think Psychic would be a little bit better, especially when you lose that 4 times Rock weakness. So for Smogon's recommended set, this is actually the only set that I have because there really aren't very many different Butterfree sets you could run. You could change the ability up and change the moveset a little bit, but outside of that, very standard. There's really not much you could change here. Butterfree with the Buginium Z, Tinted Lens ability, Timid Nature, max special attack, max speed of course, Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, and Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder could be really clutch because you can put things to sleep, go for a Quiver Dance or two, which could be really nice. The only problem is, like I said earlier, the coverage. Bug Buzz and Energy Ball, what are you doing to a fire type? What are you doing to a steel type? Nothing. So moving on to the ratings, in terms of offense, I will give Butterfree a 2 out of 5. 90 special attack is just pretty mediocre. However, having access to Quiver Dance and two pretty decent abilities that help you from an offensive standpoint make Butterfree somewhat okay offensively to warrant a 2 out of 5. Definitely below average, but not the worst offensive Pokemon I've seen. Moving on to defense, I'll give Butterfree a 1 out of 5. I don't think this really needs too much of an explanation as you are a bug and flying type, which is a horrible defensive typing. 60 HP is pretty low on top of the 45 defense, meaning you pretty much won't take any physical hit in the game. 80 special defense isn't horrible, but with only 60 HP, again, you're not going to take too many hits. And this thing does have a pretty decent amount of weaknesses, and like I've been mentioning this whole video, good luck taking hits after taking Stealth Rocks damage. For versatility, I will give Butterfree a 2 out of 5. Now, Butterfree does have two usable offensive abilities, which do add some degree of versatility to this Pokemon, and there's a handful of different items you can run, such as Life Orb, a Focus Sash, or Z Crystal. Butterfree certainly isn't the most versatile Pokemon out there, but it's not that one-dimensional to warrant a 1, which is why I gave it a 2. For Movepool, I will give Butterfree a 2.5 out of 5. Now, Butterfree's Movepool isn't that terrible. I would say it's definitely slightly below average and it could be better, but at the same time this is probably where it shines the brightest, but it still lacks coverage. It does have access to Quiver Dance, which is amazing, one of the best setup moves in the game in my opinion, and it does have some okay coverage with Energy Ball and Psychic. Butterfree would be a lot better if it hit a wider range of types and had stronger attacks like Hurricane, but this isn't the worst Movepool I've ever seen. And for viability, I'll give Butterfree a 1 out of 5. Sadly, Butterfree just really isn't that viable from a competitive standpoint. It can be a fun Quiver Dance user in the lower tiers, but it has virtually no place in VGC or doubles. It is outclassed by pretty much every Quiver Dance user. When you look at higher tier Quiver Dance users like Volcarona, one of the best Quiver Dance users in the game, even middle to low tier Quiver Dance users like Venomoth and Lilligant are better. I do wish that Butterfree got a Mega Evolution, sort of like its counterpart Beedrill, as Beedrill is basically just a physical version of Butterfree, and they both have a lot of similarities when it comes to their evolution line. Seeing Mega Butterfree behave like a special version of a Mega Beedrill would have been fantastic in my opinion, and I think it would have been a pretty decent Mega Pokemon similar to how Beedrill is. Beedrill's certainly not one of the best, not one of the worst, definitely in the middle of the pack when it comes to Megas, and definitely a very fun Mega to use. And that is Butterfree. Let me know what you guys think of Butterfree in the comment section down below for a chance to have your comment featured on the next Worst Pokemon video, like this comment right here. If you guys want to see a specific Pokemon featured in this series, make sure you guys leave a comment letting me know which Pokemon you want to see. But before you comment, please make sure you check out the full playlist in the description to see what Pokemon have been used so far. I've been getting a lot of comments lately about Pokemon I've already used. Check out the playlist and you can definitely see if Pokemon that you want to see has been used so far. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys next time, and bye bye.